Hey guys, RanterInShades here, exercise my first amendment rights vlog style. As many of you know, I'm someone that loves going to concerts. At this point in time, I've been to over 70 concerts over the course of the last 10 years. Just like how there are bands I look forward to taking off my concert bucket list in the future, there are plenty of bands with members that have died that I would have loved to see had I either been going to concerts when they were alive, had I been alive myself, or had I been able to catch a show of theirs when I had started going to concerts. Such bands and artists that come to mind when I think of this include Queen, Alice in Chains, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Pantera, Warrant, Michael Jackson, Prince, Quiet Riot, Soundgarden, Thin Lizzy, Gary Moore, Stone Temple Pilots, Death, Static X, Motorhead, Jimi Hendrix, and the subject that spawned our topic today, Dio. I've been wanting to make a video about holograms for a long time, and the idea came back once I saw an article from Blabbermouth entitled Ronnie James Dio Hologram to play over 100 shows in 2019. Obviously the Dio hologram itself isn't new, it's existed since I want to say 2016, but I want to touch on the subject of holograms because I just don't think this is as good of an idea as people seem to think. For the remainder of this video, I'm going to be really gimmicky and turn the opacity down on myself along with adding a bad TV effect so I look like a hologram. Aren't you glad you're subscribed to me? Don't get me wrong, I'm definitely not alone in the category of people that never got the opportunity to experience a Dio live performance before his death in 2010. And that sucks because I'm sure it would have been awesome. But when someone like Dio dies, I want to remember him for his legacy by listening to the music he made, not just solo, but also with Black Sabbath, Rainbow, Heaven and Hell, Hearing Aid, and even Elf. And also watch Tenacious D in The Pick of Destiny for his glorious appearance in the intro scene. I do similar things with other artists when they die, and sometimes I'll go on YouTube and watch some classic concert footage of them. I don't think about seeing a posthumous live performance with the rest of the band, so I feel hologram performances kind of devalue the experience. Holograms themselves are interesting, just not as a novelty like this. Plus, I don't think it really matches the quality of being able to say you were able to catch a performance of the musician in question. If a hologram was created for Lane Staley, for example, and Alice in Chains did a tour with it, you're not exactly able to say, yeah, I saw Lane Staley sing with Alice in Chains. If I saw Alice in Chains these days and they were using a hologram of Lane Staley, I wouldn't be able to get away with saying that since he died before I was old enough to go to my first concert, and I'd honestly kind of feel like a poser. A band I can get away with saying that about is Slayer. If they decided to create a hologram of Jeff Hanneman, and this is going with the idea that they aren't retiring, I actually did see Slayer when Hanneman was alive, and I'm not bullshitting anyone with any hologram performances. You'll probably ask about now,
what about the rest of the band?
I understand that the Dio Disciples, which features Craig Goldie on guitar, Bjorn Englund on bass, Scott Warren on keyboards, and Simon Wright on drums, need something to do. Maybe instead of cashing in on nostalgia, they could form their own band and write their own music. I don't think we need the Dio band to still be active playing all his classic songs. The songs are still being listened to and enjoyed, so it's not like it's being forgotten and the band playing it live is the only way to keep it from losing relevance. Not to mention, other bands have a Dio cover in their repertoire, like Killswitch Engage's cover of Holy Diver, Blind Guardian's cover of Don't Talk to Strangers, and Adrenaline Mob's cover of The Mob Rules that he made with Black Sabbath. Get it? Because Mob, Adrenaline, Mob Rules? Nah, you get it. Since I mentioned Thin Lizzy earlier in this video, here's an example of a band that does what I think would be more productive for the Dio Disciples to be doing. Black Star Riders. This was a band that in 2012 came from the, at the time, current incarnation of Thin Lizzy deciding to rename themselves out of respect for the band's original founder, vocalist and bassist Phil Lynott. When this was announced, I felt this was the most logical thing the band could have done if they were wanting to tour or make any new music. Because is Thin Lizzy really Thin Lizzy without Phil Lynott? I don't really pay much attention to Black Star Riders, so fans can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm sure they still incorporate some Thin Lizzy tunes into their live sets, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's kind of like when I saw Lynch Mob throw in a couple Dawkins songs into their set when I saw them in 2012. Or when I saw Whitesnake tour in support of the Purple album in 2015 and they played some Coverdale-era Deep Purple songs. But that's what I think the Dio Disciples should be doing instead of playing with a hologram of Ronnie James Dio. And the same applies to other bands wanting to do the hologram thing. I get that we love Futurama and want to get closer to living in a time where everyone can be preserved through science, but allow me to explain my other main point about why I don't really like this idea. I feel like this is going to steal attention from newer bands. Why bother seeing a live show from a tight up-and-coming band getting some buzz when we can just see holograms of established artists? This is coming from someone who enjoys lots of older music, but if society is stuck in the past, it doesn't flourish or progress forward. And the idea of younger bands not being given a chance to build legacies of their own because of people's gravitation to the past just doesn't sound fair. This is why I like finding out about more current bands that play in a style I enjoy, whether it be prog, pop punk, alt metal, etc. I like to think that they have what it takes to leave as big of an impact on the music environment as their influences did. And so I promote at the very least giving them a chance because again, it sounds more productive than relying on something like a glorified video recording to entertain us in a live setting, and it's what allows the bands the potential to reach that status. For example, Lamb of God was at one point a new band, and they wouldn't be as big as they are had they not been given the chance to grow in popularity, let alone if older bands were playing with holograms at the time. Hell, if I ever go on to become a legendary musician, I'm not sure I'd like the idea of having a hologram of myself being showcased live when I die. I'd want my music to be enjoyed by the masses the same way I enjoyed the music from my favorite dead musicians. They can listen to their physical or digital copies of the stuff, watch some live footage on YouTube, and maybe even get a concert DVD. Kinda like when my grandparents took me to an IMAX one time to see the Rolling Stones concert film Shine a Light. Holograms just sound unnecessary. I'd rather holograms be like the holograms on Jimmy Neutron, where they're basically a communication tool, like a substitute for FaceTime, or a virtual reality cartoon. That sounds futuristic as fuck. That's all I have to say about this. What are your thoughts on holograms? Leave me your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video. Take care and have a nice day. I'm Shades. And I'll see you next time. I'm not a hologram anymore.